India session on 14 September in Delhi in what is called the Constitution Club of India, which is a semi-government body which has many auditoriums and all the other arrangements. And since I'm a life member, we get a very nice hall, air conditioned. So I look forward to your coming there. The object of this kind of conference is that there's a widespread need for educated people to get involved in public affairs. Public affairs includes politics, but it is not exclusively politics. And politics also is not electoral politics alone. You can do politics without ever getting to the electoral politics. If you visit countries like the United States and Europe, any democratic country, evolved democratic country, you find that most people get involved at some stage of the electoral process. Even in elections, I have seen when I was teaching at Harvard professors going to lick stamps and post the propaganda material. So this kind of participation is required in politics to change it. It can't be changed by a few people. We need an infusion of new kinds of people. And unfortunately, during the freedom movement, Mahatma Gandhi made a conscious decision to bring people into politics. Some of them gave up their researches, like Meghnad Saha, to enter the freedom struggle. Gandhi even criticized C.V. Raman when he got the Nobel Prize by saying, what is this going to do to advance the freedom of India? And of course he explained that I am not minimizing your achievement, but I think the focus of this country should be that. Not in chasing Nobel Prizes, but to be able to liberate the country. We did get freedom after a long struggle, but we got it peacefully. It was transferred. It didn't produce results the way people expected. That's not surprising. After revolutions, you find very often that immediately the disappointment is very large. Mahatma Gandhi was a very disappointed man. In fact, he was planning to split the Congress and create two Congress parties, one headed by Sardar Patel, another headed by Jawaharlal Nehru. I once asked Morarji Desai, who knew Gandhi very well, as to why Gandhi made this big mistake of supporting Jawaharlal Nehru instead of Patel. Patel had the support of, out of 15 PCC presidents of Congress Party, 14 voted for Sardar Patel to be the Prime Minister. And only one voted for Jawaharlal Nehru. And Morarji first said that even that one would have voted for Sardar Patel, but Gandhi said, don't take all my shade, give me something to, persuade somebody. So Acharya Kripalani was given the task of persuading one of the PCC presidents to vote for Nehru. And that man under protest voted for Nehru. So that was the situation. So Morarji said to me that Gandhi told him that if I do not make Sardar Patel Prime Minister and I do not make Jawaharlal Nehru, then I am afraid that Jawaharlal Nehru may split the Congress and side with the British. However, I don't know, Morarji Desai, in those days we didn't have tape recorders and so on, but Morarji was a truthful person. He would not make out a lie. But the fact is that there was a view that Jawaharlal Nehru would not accept anything short of prime ministership. So he said, Gandhi thought that let the British go first. And then after that we will make arrangements to see that Sardar comes back. And I think just on the day of his assassination, Gandhi had resolved that he will make the Congress party into two, and one of them will be led by Sardar, and Patel would have definitely, in a very short time, have become the Prime Minister. But it didn't happen that way. Godse killed Mahatma Gandhi. It's the biggest foolish act because he killed Mahatma Gandhi saying that he was not Hindu enough. But in the end, by killing him, empowered the very man who was the most anti-Hindu of all, namely Jawaharlal Nehru. Had Gandhi lived, Jawaharlal Nehru would have had an easy time. So anyway, that was an example where a great event took place. The British were driven out and we came to power, but there was no satisfaction. 1977 also was a great turning point in our history, where JP led a movement, and people used to say to me, why are you fighting the emergency? We are a third world country, we don't understand democracy, people want to fill their stomachs. Democracy is a luxury for rich countries, not for us. This is the kind of propaganda that used to be done. And people used to say that this emergency will never go. You will spend all your life in this kind of struggle, but the emergency will never go. After Indira Gandhi will come Sanjay Gandhi. After Sanjay Gandhi will come Tommy Gandhi. I said, who's Tommy Gandhi? He said, their golden retriever. So that was the kind of cynicism. But ultimately, democracy did come back. And I can tell you personally, because now I am a witness to that, Jai Prakash Narayan died a broken-hearted man. He felt that the whole Janata Party had let him down. And it was not, what was much was expected. They were all squabbling for his kursi, their chairs and so on. So I think today you need a perspective. I certainly think that even if Jawaharlal Nehru betrayed us, the fact that the freedom movement led to the departure of the British was better than if they had not been driven out. So we gained by the British being driven out and by our own people taking power, and we were going for self-rule. The same way, we are better off with democracy today, even though the Janata Party disappointed Prakash Narayan and disappointed many others. And when we look back, we can say that had the Janata Party not been formed, had the Janata Party not brought back democracy, today we would have been living much like people live in Pakistan. So today, I would say, BJP has come to power, many of you are dissatisfied, but the fact of the matter is that at least Sonia Gandhi, whom I call as Taraka, she's been driven out. And she is going to go to jail. I can tell you there is no escape for her. And if I succeed in the next 2-3 months in doing what I am doing quietly, she will not be a citizen of India also. Because she has an Italian citizenship. And that Italian citizenship, I've got some leads, I'm working on it. But if it is proved that she has also an Italian citizenship, then under Article 18 of the Indian Constitution, you lose your Indian citizenship automatically. So, I think we are much better off today than had Sonia Gandhi got another term. So your anger should not reach a point where you say that anything is better than BJP. In fact, I would say that the country has moved forward. you may expect it to move even more forward and produce a transformation. As someone pointed out, I want to know constructively what you're going to do. So these are some of the issues that are concerned. Many of you are upset that I didn't become a minister. I certainly was told I would become minister 10 hours later, but when the list came out, my name was not there. How it disappeared, I am not bothered to find out. Because I never wanted it there in the first place. I never asked that put my name in or one campaign for it. But knowing political dynamics, it will be very difficult to keep me out of the government for a very long time. So therefore, just relax on that. And I will tell you, your Twitter attack for my being kept out has been noticed by no less a person than Narendra Modi, who himself told me that this Twitter is making my life miserable. Because he is one Prime Minister who gives a lot of importance to social media. And I can say very frankly, if he was confident that he would manage the consequences of my coming to the government on 26th May, he would have done it. But he was unsure, and therefore he did what he did. It's not easy to keep me in the government, I can tell you that. Chandrasekhar found out the hard way. I ran the whole show. I read every cabinet document before going to a cabinet meeting. Most ministers were partying or having a good time, didn't have time to read. They got little chits from their secretary which they used to read out. And I used to then say, no, on page so and so, on the cabinet document, this is written, and this is contradictory to what you're reading. And this should put the ministers in a lot of difficulty. So if I come, a lot of ministers are going to be very unhappy. But that's the nature of things in our country. So I think I appreciate and thankful for this widespread support that I'm getting and is being noticed by a large number of people. Number of followers now reaching very soon 7 lakhs, and these are all genuine ones that are not like the former Rajasthan Chief Minister who had 90% of his following from Turkey, obviously paid for. So therefore, I would say that slowly things are better than before. I would like it to move faster. We have told the United Nations to vacate the premises. Did any government have that kind of nerve? And we certainly, the inauguration, the oath-taking ceremony, the neighbors were called. The Americans were not called, the Europeans were not called. And not that they didn't want, their ambassadors wanted to know whether they could, some leader could come from abroad. But Modi said no, only the neighbors, because we are all of the same backgrounds in history. So there have been other changes which previous government didn't do. For example, on Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, well, there is a genuine problem of Tamil rights, there is a genuine problem of fishermen's problem. But we can't act in a manner which vacates the space for the Chinese and the Pakistanis to come. And you see the consequences of this 10 years of UPA rule. Today, ISI is training Tamil Muslims in Patikalam. And they can easily merge into Tamil Nadu. We don't know who's killing all these RSS people and Hindu people. But we know that they are extremists, they are Tamil extremists. Are they Indians? Are they Sri Lankans? It's difficult to tell. And we have now Tamils who have also joined the ISIS, which is now called the Caliphate. Let me tell you some history which you people forget. The caliphate under Umar is the second caliphate. Caliphate means a nation of all Muslims, of all countries. In other words, they regard the Muslims of India as residents of India, but citizens of the caliphate. They'll be soon issuing passports also for them. So that's a very dangerous thing, that a part of our country, somebody should regard himself as part of an international community instead of a national community. And what the history shows, that when we were of a different frame of mind, we did what nobody else did anywhere else in the world. Umar, who was the greatest of their caliphates, this particular caliphate, I think, is the fourth caliphate. Caliphate in between had disappeared. Umar was there in 730, 740, that period. He set up one of the most fiercest armies, went to Europe and conquered Spain also. Then he decided he would go eastward. And he publicly declared that I am going to conquer India and convert it all into Islam. At that time when he came, he reached Sindh and the Rajasthan border. And at that time, the South Indian kings, the Pandyans, the Pallavas, the Chalukyas from Andhra, and the Pratihara from Gujarat, they came together, and Umar was defeated in Sindh, and he died broken-hearted. The only defeat ever received by Umar was in the hands of Hindu kings. And yet you will find propagation of our history that we have been always beaten and we have no unity. This disunity has been fostered in our country. If the unity, basic unity in India was not there, would we be an 80% Hindu country today? When Islam occupied Persia, Persia was ruled by Zoroastrians. In 15 years they converted, by all their usual tactics, they converted Persia into 100% Muslim country. They converted Iraq, which in those days was two countries called Mesopotamia and Babylon, in 17 years after occupation. In Egypt, after occupation, in 21 years they converted Egypt into 100% Muslim. The Christians occupied Europe from Palestine, and in 50 years they converted Europe to 100% Christian. In India, the Muslims ruled for 800 years. Christians ruled for 200 years. And you're still 80%. Not because that they didn't do all those things that they did elsewhere. They couldn't do it because all through our country, some place or the other we were fighting. Whether it is Rana Pratap fighting, losing, whether it is Kattaboman in Tamil Nadu, or whether it was Rani Chennamma in Karnataka, or later on Rani Jhansi, or even later Subhash Chandra Bose. These are not people who led you to victory, but they fired up the nation's imagination. And Subhash Chandra Bose's exploits in Kohima and in Manipur, in Manipur, if these had not taken place, this country would not have had the confidence that we will drive the British out. The British decided, according to their own Prime Minister, Mr. Attlee, that we found Gandhi convenient to hand over power, because he was a peaceful man. But the real reason why we decided to leave after winning World War II was the fear that the country may go the Subhash Chandra Bose way, and which means that we will all have been finished. So therefore this is our history. And unfortunately the British, they systematically try to sabotage your mind. That's why you talk about Aryans and Dravidians. What is this Aryans and Dravidians? The word Aryan doesn't exist in our scriptures. Arya is there. Arya means a cultured person. Dravid is a sandhi of two words. Tra means three and Vid means coast. So where the three coasts meet, that is Dravid. And Adi Shankara used it in that sense when he went to North India. Dravida means South India. But the British changed that into communities, and you had a winning set of stooges in our state who then started this whole Tamil separatism movement. Most of them are not even Tamils. I mean, Vaiko is all the time speaking Telugu at home, but outside he says Tamil problem. You should go and find out about this Telugu problem. Telugu fishermen also have a lot of problems. So, and Karunanidhi is also Telugu. Vijayakant is also Telugu. In fact, the Tamils are slaves because of these Telugus. See? But I am not against Telugu. My son-in-law is a Telugu. And we are all one people. How do I know we are all one people? Because of DNA studies. DNA has now exploded the whole theory of Aryan country. So I will begin by saying that please have a healthy optimism. Fight, you must fight. And I know I will prevail because I am fighting for the right causes. Yesterday I was surprised, in a sense not so surprised, but I was still surprised that Mr. Jaitley defended me. I wrote him a letter saying do something about Sonia Gandhi on income tax, and people were saying no, he's not Jaitley, he's Jaitley. But I said no, I know from when he was a student in Vidyarthi Parishad in Sri Ram College of Commerce, and I said no, he must have some of the old street, let me try it. I wrote him a letter. He acted on it. And now he is defending it publicly. So therefore, today I will say, don't despair. Right? Yes, if somebody does anything wrong, you fight it. Can we get this black money back? This is a question I want to ask. Of course we'll get it back. Will we get it back in 1 month? No, I can't say. Yes, if I was in charge of finance ministry, I would have done it in the very first week. All I have to say is bring out an ordinance. Just like we have brought it for tribe, but brought an ordinance. All Indian accounts in the following 70 countries are hereby nationalized. And a letter to each of these governments, please hand over their accounts to us. Now they can't say which account is illegal, which account is legal. Please tell us. No, they can't. I am saying every Indian citizen's account in your country's banks is nationalized. So you have to hand it over. And what is the power of that? The power is 2005 resolution of the United Nations. The Americans are getting it. They are, of course, Americans are not even nationalizing the accounts. What they are doing is they are catching hold of the chairman of the bank and say, I'll send you to jail unless you give me the accounts. And they are giving. This Credit Suisse Bank has given. Your Union Bank of Switzerland has given. The Americans, whatever they want to get, just by this threat of putting them in jail. And they know that in America, that you can't call up a minister and say, don't put me in jail. I'll put a deposit in your bank account in my country. There, when the Americans have a law enforcement system, when they catch somebody, they don't let go. So therefore, I think these are problems which will be solved. If Mr. Modi knows that the country has come, given him a mandate, an unprecedented mandate, where he has to perform, and therefore he is very much performance oriented. And he will find that things are not happening, they are not going to sit for 5 years. Nor are this party one family party. This is not run by the family of Sonia Gandhi. This is a party where there are many parivars, not one parivar like in Congress. The RSS is a very strong force. They may not want to break the back of this government. Nobody wants to destroy this government. But we hope that we can be pushed in the right direction. The same way I would say that today we are quite conscious of this country. Let me tell you that if India wants to be a developed country, it will not take more than 10 years. What is it needed? In simplistic words, what is needed is a growth rate of 10% per year for 10 years. Can we achieve it? We have achieved up to 9.5. During this entire period before the crisis hit us in 2009, we were growing at 9%. We can grow at 10% very easily. And mathematically it is very easy to show what needs to be done. If you have a rate of savings of say 40% of GDP and a capital efficiency use which is measured by something called capital output ratio of 4, then 40 by 4 is 10. That is the growth rate, that's the formula, rule of thumb. Then you divide the rate of investment by the capital output ratio, that gives you the growth rate. If it is 36 and 3, then it is 12% per year. 36 rate of investment and 3 is the capital output ratio. Can it be 3? Of course it can be 3. You have to be efficient in the use. Resources shouldn't be wasted, so you can bring down 4 to 3. But Indians have been saving for 40% till that 2009. After that 2009 it has come down. That is why I said abolish income tax. Now Jetty didn't feel strong enough to abolish income tax. Because it requires nerve, because all the income tax officers sitting in the ministry will say, oh no, there will be chaos, everything will fall apart, because their business will go, you see. I know when I was in Chandrasekhar's government and we decided to do away with license, what did my secretaries tell me? And I had a very intelligent secretary called Montek Singh Aluwala. He told me that no industrialist will come to our office henceforth to seek favors if you do this. And we'll lose control over them. I said, what is wrong with that? He said, no, don't you want all these industrialists, Tata, Birlas, everybody sitting in your waiting room, waiting for an appointment? He said, no, I don't want to see their faces. Let them go and do what they are supposed to do. So, the civil service is all the time scaring ministers. And you need, therefore, to be a person who knows enough of the economy to know that these civil services are disregarded. Mr. Jetty didn't feel that he wanted to take that risk. And it's not a new thing, because even in the party meeting when we had question of adopting this, he had raised an objection because he was overruled in the party meeting. But he was more concerned with this transaction tax business. You see, all banking transactions, there was a proposal we should abolish all taxes and have only one tax, and that is our banking transaction.